What is going on, guys? It has been a minute since my last video, but what better video to come back with than a manga collection to show what I've read and what I have and how it's grown since my last one, which I think the only one I've uploaded was back in around 2018, so definitely grown the collection since then. Sitting at just under 750 volumes, so I'll just kind of go through, show you guys what I've got. I'll remove the statues and figures and whatnot, just to make it easy to see everything, and then I'll just go through that stuff at the end. So we'll jump right into it. Starting off at the very top, we've got the beginning of my big three collection with One Piece volumes 1 all the way through to 70, with box sets 1 and 2 offering supports on the side because otherwise the volumes will fall. This is the first 3 box sets, like I was saying. I have read the first 23, so that's going up to Baroque Works, not too sure how to pronounce that. I'm just waiting to catch up to date on the releases before I read any more of it. So that's box set 4, and then picking up a couple of odd volumes up until around, I believe 102 is the next one releasing, or maybe 103. So that's kind of it for One Piece. I need to kind of delve a bit deeper into it before giving proper opinions on it, but I mean, everyone knows about One Piece, so you know, not too much to say about it. Now going into the first proper shelf, coming down a bit because that's pretty high for me. We've got what started off my entire collection, Naruto, and those first 5 volumes given to me by my brother. That's why they're so weathered and old, but I just can't replace them because they're literally responsible for all of this. So we got Naruto volumes 1 to 27, which covers the first part, and then what is known as in the anime Shippuden 28 to 72 down here on the second layer here, and then the additional volume there, the 7th Hokage and the Scarlet Spring, which is kind of like a little go-between between Naruto and Boruto, and then a very controversial series itself, Boruto, after that, which I wasn't massive on, but I'm kind of curious to see how it progresses. Then we got a couple of completed series here, Ashta Lost in Space volumes 1 to 5, which I really enjoyed, something a bit different, a bit unique for a shonen. And then another series with a bit of potential, which is unfortunate that it got cancelled, Black Torch volumes 1 to 5, which is complete. Again, it does have an ending, but everything does feel rushed and plot points do kind of go unanswered just because of its cancellation, but at least it's complete. But I just think it could have gone somewhere with the quality of the artwork and the kind of rough, jaggedy look of it. Then another series I really like, we got Sakamoto Days. Need to pick up more of it. It is hilarious, great read, great fun. Going over to the next shelf, we have got Bleach. Oh, well, here in front, I'll just go through quickly the 20th anniversary volume of Bleach. It's got a unique cover, but content-wise inside, it's exactly the same as the original first volume. And then the second character book, Masked. Do want to collect the other ones. Unmasked is going to be a bit of a nightmare to get because it was quite rare, but Soul, I believe, is the name of the first one. Shouldn't be too hard to procure. But in the background, we got box set 1 content, which is 1 to 21. Then I didn't actually get box set 2 because it wasn't in stock, so I had to pick up the volumes individually. That's why we got some unfortunate old logos there at the top, which really bugs me. But that is volume 22 to 44 on that shelf. And then coming down a bit, we got 45 to 48. And then what's covered in box set 3 with the, I would say, better looking red colours on the spines, 49 to 74. I'm actually currently reading Bleach. I am, I think, here, volume 70. So looking forward to kind of doing a review and talking further about my thoughts on the series. Then next to that, we've got Tite Kubo's next work that he did after it, Burn the Witch. So I'm going to read that, obviously, after finishing Bleach and seeing if it's like linked and stuff. I'm not too sure if it is. Then after that, we got something that everyone's been talking about, Chainsaw Man. This is the first arc, volumes 1 to 11. 12 isn't out yet in English, but I'll give kind of further detailed opinions on Chainsaw Man in another video because I do want to talk about it and give my thoughts. Then we got a couple of volume 1s here. We got We Never Learn. I wasn't massive on. I didn't really find it too funny or anything. So of these 3, probably the one I'm least likely to progress with. But the other 2 I really liked, Mashal, cool little concept, kind of Harry Potter and working out, just kind of thrown into a series. It's funny. And then Blue Box, it was the setup of a nice kind of sports romance, which weirdly enough isn't shown in Jump, but yeah, another good series. So I'd recommend maybe all three of them if you like some kind of harem type deal with We Never Learn. But yeah, that's the overall the first shelf there. And then the next two shelves have got my deluxes and hardcovers. So starting up here, we've got the Soul Eater Perfect editions. These are published by Square Enix. I'm not too sure how many manga Square Enix actually publish. I feel like they're relatively new because I never used to see too much from them. So, other than outside of their games mangas like Kingdom Hearts, and I don't know if Final Fantasy actually has a manga, but I feel like the Kingdom Hearts one is published by Square Enix. Anyway, tangent. I only have this and one other Square Enix manga in my collection, so they're probably relatively new in the publishing game, but as one of their first works, these perfect editions are really nice. The colour scheme's awesome, and Soul Eater is a great series to kind of start with. Each of these has about a volume and a half of the original 25 volume runs, so these will go on for about 16-17 volumes, and I'll read it probably when they're all out and I've got all of them. Then next up we got The Drifting Classroom volumes 1 to 3, a kind of old school horror manga, and I am a sucker for the continuous spines on these. They look so sick, and the colour wave. Haven't actually read it yet, and also this manga has another work out in English, Orochi I believe, so looking forward to checking that out after reading this. Next up we got Full Metal Alchemist Full Metal Edition Volume 1. Don't know what really happened to my spine there. It got kind of worn and looks a bit messy, but yeah. Then next up we got my kind of messy JoJo collection, which has the first volume of part 1, 4 volumes of part 2, which is that complete, first volume of part 3, and then the first 4 volumes of part 4. I've watched all of the anime, so I'm kind of just picking up this whenever, and just when I finish collecting all that's out, I will then probably read it all the way through. In terms of personal favourite part from the anime, at least, it's got to be part 4 for me. Josuke is like one of my favourite anime characters, so part 4 just steals it for me, man. Then up next we got the first deluxe edition volume from the Girl from the Other Side. It was a really good read. I definitely recommend it, and I'll probably pick up the remaining 3 when they're all out and read it all together. But super promising series, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Next up we got the first volume of the full colour collection for Parasite. Picked this up recently, watched the anime, big fan, so was originally going to get the first releases from Kodansha, but then they started putting out these full colour editions, so I'll just wait for those to come out, and they'll look cool when they're all out and they spell Parasite on the spines, so just waiting for those. Next up we got Paradise Kiss, manga cover from the same creator as Nana. So I read about the first 3 volumes of Nana. You'll see them later on in the collection, and was curious to see kind of what else she has out in English. And there's this 20th anniversary edition for this, which I believe contains what was a 5 volume run, all in this one book. So yeah, going across we've got what I would consider the best series in my collection, and that is off of me only having read the first 4 volumes and watching the first season of the anime, which is give or take the same content, but the prologue of this series absolutely hooked me, and I cannot wait to read the rest of it. And that is, of course, as you're seeing here, Vinland Saga. I've got volumes 1 to 12, which is just one behind what is currently up to date, and I cannot wait to get into it. Probably what I will read next after Bleach. So yeah, and I'm hearing things about season 2, good things about the anime, how faithful it is, even getting praise from the actual creator himself. So other than the people complaining about the fact there's no action, it generally seems to be being received well, so that's great to hear. So after I read all of this, I'll probably go and catch up with the anime, but I just wanted to experience it in the manga form first. So yeah, that's that. Next up we've got probably one of everyone's starter mangas when they first start buying and collecting, and that is All You Need Is Kill, based on a light novel of the same name, and with a live action movie that kind of follows the premise in Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise in it, which I believe is based off the novel as well. Again, a good starter manga, nice and short for anyone to kind of pick up and get into the medium, so definitely recommend it for that. Then we have my first of two Oba and Obata works that they've done together. I've watched the anime adaptation for two of their works, and this isn't my favourite of the two, but in terms of the manga, because Death Note's the one I've read, I'd have to give it to it. But obviously Death Note's good, everyone knows about Death Note, another one of those first anime and manga series that people get into, and I think the best way to collect them, despite the fact that there are about a million ways to, is definitely these black editions, just the black pages and stuff, just look awesome. Then after that we've got something that was kind of disappointing in the Death Note short stories. It was just a bit meh. A couple of the short stories were interesting. Actually, I found that the ones that were only 4 or 5 pages long were actually the most interesting in comparison to those longer ones, but still an okay read all in all, just with no stakes, because you kind of know it's just like a short thing. You can't really get as invested as you could in the original series, but that's expected. Then moving over to the next shelf, we've got the first 5 Berserk Deluxe editions from Dark Horse. I mean, it's Berserk, there isn't really too much to say about it that everyone hasn't praised and said about it already. I have read up to the end of Golden Age and needed to take a bit of a break because damn, again, as everyone says, it just completely breaks you down and destroys you, but amazing series. Can't wait to get more of it, and I believe that volume 12 or 13 will have the last Kentaro Miura volume written, which it will be awesome to kind of own and respect his memory and stuff, so I'm looking forward to that. I'll probably just pick that one up as soon as it comes out, just to own it. And then next up on the Dark Horse Deluxes, we've got Hellsing volumes 1 to 3, which, as I should say, these have each of them 3 of the original works in them, with the exception of Hellsing, in which I believe it's the first one, has 4 volumes just because it's a 10 volume run complete, but this is all 10 volumes. Again, another thing I haven't read yet, but completely looking forward to getting into it, and I just like seeing it next to Berserk because they've got alter like different color palettes, and I don't know what I'm trying to say, flipped color palettes is where I was going with that, Jesus. Then the next Berserk, fumbling here, the next deluxe edition from Dark Horse is Blade of the Immortal. This is volume 1. A good read, and I just decided to prioritize the other ones over it for the time being, just because obviously Berserk's Berserk and then Hellsing was shorter. But now that I'm kind of taking a break from those, I will probably continue this. But then again, with Trigon on its way later this year as the next deluxe, I might take priority with that. Who knows? Then next up, we've got the 6 volumes from the Akira box set, as well as the art book up here, Akira Club. Akira is another one of those ones where I haven't read it or watched the movie, but I'm expecting amazing things, and just to finally have it in a traditional flipped format, which unfortunately Blade of the Immortal isn't. I don't know why after the 3rd release and their 3rd chance to do it, but Akira is, and I'm looking forward to reading it in this format. And the hardcovers are just so nice, and the slipcovers, and just the colorway is awesome. Next up, we have Silent Voice volumes 1 and 2 in the collector's edition. Unfortunately, I can get them on the same shelf, but it doesn't look too bad with one on either side. Another good read, emotional, you really get invested, and it does a really good job of character dissection and growth, and it's just really realistic in the way that it portrays kind of disabilities and stuff like that, and just an amazing read all round. Then next up, we have Attack on Titan in the Colossal editions. Each of these has 5 volumes in it, with the exception of volume 7, which just has 31 to 34, I believe. So 4 volumes as opposed to the usual 5. This rounds out the entire series. And what can I say about Attack on Titan? Amazing, masterpiece. Masterpiece maybe not, actually, just because of the way it ends, but it's difficult. People have different opinions. I don't think the ending is as bad as some people say it is in relation to acting, as if it's the worst thing that they've ever seen, but it's not as good as I would expect for a series like Attack on Titan with its quality. Then next up, we've got Knights of Sidonia Master Edition, volumes 1 to 3. Haven't read that yet, but looking forward to it. My first Tsutomu Nihei work. I know that he does a lot of just visual pieces more so than dialogue. There's not a heavy amount of dialogue in this series, so we'll see what it's like. If I like it, I'll probably go to pick up Blam or another one of his works. Next up we got Sailor Moon Eternal Editions 1 and 2. Really good. I love Sailor Moon. It's just a fun series. Next up we got the first volume of Tokyo Revengers, well, the first two in the 7 Seas published editions. Good. I've watched the anime before, haven't read this, so I kind of knew the content, so it wasn't as like surprising when stuff goes down, but still a very good read nonetheless, and excited to continue on with the anime and then maybe pick up some of the manga. But it's not at the top of my list, considering that I think the anime adaptations is good enough and it suffices. Then another one of my favourite series, we got Flowers of Evil. Not as big a fan of the last kind of bit of it, where it takes a bit of a time skip turn, but the beginning couple of volumes are some of my favourite in any manga, and it's got, I would say, some of the best characters. And Shuzo Hashimi just, I don't know, understands characterization and stuff. He just gets it. Just does an amazing job with all of his characters, and because there aren't too many in each of his works, they really have each their time to shine and grow, which is just awesome. Then another work by the same creator as Vinland Saga, we got Planetes here, another kind of nice short series that dissects characters and is in an awesome little setting. Then afterwards we got Vagabond, just the first volume of that. I'm just waiting for them to become a bit more easily accessible, if they ever will be. I know that Viz stopped publishing the Viz Bigs, but every so often they do a reprint of them, especially for Vagabonds. We'll see. I won't be too heartbroken if I can't pick up the series. I'll just read it digitally, but it would be nice, especially looking at that like continuous spine, like I was saying, that Vagabond also has. It would just be nice on the shelf, and with the artwork, it's got, I would say, arguably the nicest art in any manga, so would be nice to own. On my knees now for the next set of shelves. This is getting towards the bottom. This is like my Viz signatures and my bigger volumes that are just a little bit smaller than hardcovers and deluxes over on these next two shelves. That's kind of how I got it organized. So starting here all the way on the left, we've got PTSD Radio. Just really interesting in reading this after what the mangaka had said about stopping it due to just feeling like stuff was happening to him due to writing this manga. So just interesting read. Looking forward to getting into it. No Longer Human complete edition, another one where it's flipped, which isn't awesome, but still looking forward to reading it. And I know that this is one of those manga that just absolutely destroys you, so got to be in the right headspace to kind of get into it. Also got a light novel the manga's based on the light novel, so if I like that I might even go and read the light novel and see what that's like. Then we got the first half of Summertime Rendering. This is the first 3 volumes. I decided against picking up the hardcovers. I just went with the soft covers. I thought they looked nicer on the shelf in between all this stuff, and they were a little bit cheaper, so I just thought to go with them. Haven't read it yet, looking forward to it. I know that the anime is also on Disney Plus, so might have a go watching that. Then we've got my small little Naoki Urasawa section. I only got the first volume of 20th Century Boys and the first 3 volumes of Monster. I have read all of these and they're all amazing, but Monster's been a bit hard to find for a long time now, and that's, of the 2 series, the one that I'd like to kind of finish and conclude first. Then we've got my little Inio and Asano section. We've got his one-shot Solanin, which was amazing. I haven't read the little after epilogue chapter, but this is, as a contained work, was really nice anyway, so don't even know if that's necessary. Then we've got the first volume of Goodnight Punpun, similar to No Longer Human, probably up there as one of the manga that will absolutely break you. So looking to pick up all of that before I go on a depressing binge read of it. Then going into my regular sized signatures, we've got the Love Triangle series, Blue Flag, the first 8 volumes of that's complete. Haven't read it yet, but super excited to read something of this ilk. I like reading the romance series every now and then, so curious to get into it. Then we got Ran in the Grey World. That was a decent pickup, decent little series, but nothing that I'm super excited to continue. I'll get around to it eventually if the volumes are still around, but kind of just didn't really seem like the series knew what it was, but maybe that's just me and my opinion of it. Then next up we've got another series that come out with box set. This is Tokyo Ghoul volumes 1 to 14. This is the first series complete. Way better than the anime, that's all I can really say. Just read this, don't watch the anime. Anime's got some moments, but I will never forgive it for skipping out on those final couple fights, because they are the best in the series and they are deserving of their own really clean animation. So disappointed that those didn't get animated, but definitely read the manga over the anime any day anyway. Need to pick up the Reebok set. Then going across, continuing with the signatures, we've got the first Golden Kamuy volume. I have watched the anime for it, so that's why I'm a little bit reluctant to pick up more of the manga, considering it's such a long commitment, but good series nonetheless, really funny. Then a series I think is still criminally underrated, even though I haven't picked up a volume of it in a few years, is Children of the Whales. Really, really good. Then Solo Leveling, the first volume of that, one of my only like full colour manga. Then we got a couple of Shuzo Oshimi works. Again, after finishing Flowers of Evil, I just needed some more works from him. Inside Mari, really good, those 3 volumes. Happiness, probably I would say is the weakest series that I've read. That's probably why I've been less inclined to kind of keep up with it, but good nonetheless. And then Shino Can't Say Her Name as a one-shot was nice and wholesome. And then after that we have My Dress Up Darling, which is the other Square Enix manga that I said I owned. This is the first 3 volumes of that. I haven't gotten into it, but recommendations from loads of people, so I decided to pick it up. After that we've got My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness, and then My Solo Exchange Diary 1 and 2. These are the first 3 volumes of this series. Another one I haven't picked up, haven't read yet, sorry, but super big fan of the art style and the colour scheme and stuff. So, and also the 5th volume being called My Wandering Warrior Existence is just one of the coolest names. So a couple of random reasons why I picked it up. Then we've got the first omnibus for Fire Force. Haven't actually decided whether I'm going to collect it like this or in the traditional format, just because I feel like I'm going to be missing out on a couple of really cool covers if I don't get the originals. But this is cheaper, and these Kodansha omnibuses are way better than the Vistarine ones, like the quality of the paper and just the thickness of it. There's not as much page bleeding and stuff, but it's a difficult choice, and I'll see kind of which direction I want to take it. But watch the first season of the anime and it is amazing. Same creator as Soul Eater as well. Then next up we got a couple of one-shots. We've got Utsubora, Story of a Novelist. It was pretty good, a bit random, a bit weird, but interesting take. Then Love and Focus, which I haven't actually read yet, but a little romance series there. Then we've got a couple of Kodansha box sets here. Kodansha usually tend to do kind of smaller box sets with less volumes, at a cheaper kind of price than the big Viz ones. We got the first 11 volumes of Fairy Tail, which came in the first box set for that, and then the first 7 volumes of Quintessential Quintuplets, which is the first half of the series and came in the first box set for that. Haven't read either of these, so I don't really have too much of an opinion on them yet. Then we move over to the next shelf. Down here is kind of the rest of my non-Viz manga. Sorry, it's a bit dark under here, but the first volume there is Bomba by Osamu Tezuka. Not sure if that's actually the right pronunciation of it, but that was my first Tezuka work, and just nice to read something by the godfather of manga himself. Then the first volume of Your Name, the first volume of Noragami, and the last 2 volumes of Attack on Titan, which I bought directly after the second part of season 4 finished, because I was not waiting for these specials to come out to experience the end of the story, especially with what I'd heard about it. And I got to say, I'm happy that I just decided to bite the bullet and read it, because it wasn't worth the wait. It wouldn't have been worth the wait. Then we've got Attack on Titan No Regrets 1 and 2, Attack on Titan Before the Fall 1 and 6. I just found 6 really cheap, so I decided to pick it up, and eventually we'll kind of get the rest of the series. Then Goblin Slayer 1 and 2, which is a fine action series with definitely some dark and controversial moments in it. Going across there we got Orange volumes 1 and 2, which is the complete series by Seven Seas in these what I believe are 3-in-1 collections. Then High Rise Invasion volumes 1 and 2. I didn't think the series was all that, to be honest. A bit bland, a bit boring. Ancient Magus Bride, Die Dark, and Atom Volumes 1 and 2, all series which I think were good, and I'm curious to pick up more. Die Dark being written by the same creator as Dorohedoro, which is this anime that I really like, so that one out of these probably picks my fancy the most. Then I Hear the Sunspot. What drew me to this is that it has got a really different kind of art style than most shoujos, which was nice because shoujos definitely have like a very specific kind of vibe and style, and all romance series in general, just not just shoujos, but the art style in this was pretty special, so I decided to pick it up. Then we got Gantz Omnibuses Volumes 1 to 3. I believe each of these contain 3 of the original series, and I think that it's complete now at 10 volumes or 11 volumes, but I'm not too sure if this is the case, but it may be getting the deluxe treatment as well, so I'm kind of reluctant to pick up any more just in case it does, because that's obviously the way to pick them up if it does end up happening like that. But then next up we got Mob Psycho Volumes 1 to 9. Probably the best example of a main character in shonen. I think Mob just is the peak of character progression, and his development and his growth over the course of the series. It's just wonderful and amazing to see, and it's just wholesome as well at the same time, and his displays of power as well are pretty cool. So Mob Psycho, the anime especially, just I'd have to recommend it above anything else in this video. The art in the manga is obviously a little bit, you either love it or you don't, but one's got a very, very unique art style, so it takes some getting used to, that's for sure. Then we've got Arjun Volumes 1 to 5 there in that little corner. Haven't read that yet, but another fan of the art style in that again. Then we have what I would consider Shuzo Oshimi's second best work after Flowers of Evil, and that is Blood on the Tracks. The way that he manages to build horror and suspense with simply a mother just is outstanding to me. That some of the panels that he draws of just her face and in pure disgust and whatnot, it always stands out to me as some brilliant writing and creativity on his part. So really excited to see where the series goes beyond these 3 volumes. Also a really good series to read like on the bus or the train, because they are very quick to get through, not super dialogue heavy, and just give you something to think about as well. Then next to that we've got the one shot The God's Lie, a really nice wholesome series. I actually wish it was a little bit longer. I wanted to see a bit more of the characters and the relationship, but very good nonetheless, and super excited to pick up this manga's other work, Golden Sheep I believe it's called, which is a 3-volume series, I believe published by Vertical as well. And then next up we have Dead Man Wonderland Volumes 1 to 13. That is complete. Dead Man Wonderland's a really good series, really good action, really good art and stuff. One of the first manga that I read, and at the beginning of my manga collection it was definitely something that stood out to me, and these spines always appreciate looking at them. They just look really nice. Next to that we've got Radiant Volumes 1 to 10. I will die on the hill that this is an underrated series. As tropey as it is, I think some of the power systems and world building is super unique in the series, and I really like it and really want to pick up more. I think I'm about 5 or 6 volumes behind now. How Do We Relationship, a really good romance series, dealing with kind of different from other romances. They're already in the relationship pretty much from the end of the first volume, and then it's kind of about issues in it and them kind of growing as a couple and dealing with each other. So yeah, definitely recommend it. It's a bit different from a lot of other romances, which was nice. Then we got Banana Fish Volume 1. I would have to say that the anime over the manga for this one, just because I feel like the way the anime is stylized, I just personally prefer. But the manga's still amazing, and either way it's gonna tear you apart going through that series, because it's an emotional roller coaster, and by far the least romancy shoujo I've experienced, because there's a lot of action and a lot of fighting in it, and the animation does it justice 100%. Next to that we've got probably my favourite romance series. It's Haru Ride here, complete, volumes 1 to 13. Talking about emotional roller coasters, this was definitely one. The kind of will they won't they aspect of the series was nice, but this is definitely more of a traditional basic shoujo. But because I don't read too much romance, it was unique enough to me to the point where I enjoyed it. And I need to pick up our other series, Love Me, Love Me Not, which is I think has just finished publishing in English. Strobe Edge, which is a series before this, is a bit harder to pick up, but if I ever come across it, I'll definitely be giving it a read. Then next up, we've got another fun shoujo in My Love Story, another one where they're pretty much together from the beginning. I believe I read this first volume ages ago, but that's what I think they're together from the beginning. And just a really wholesome big guy you don't expect to see as a shoujo protagonist, and his relationship, it's just really nice, really wholesome. Another one of those really wholesome series. Cool, so I would now jump us down to the very bottom shelf. Right, I am now sitting on the floor for the very bottom of my collection here in these last two shelves. There's also some volumes behind these ones because I didn't have enough space on the shelf, so I'll just show you what's in front first and then go across the back ones after that. I'll just, at the top of these, I've got a mismatch of Haikyuu volumes. I got 12 on this shelf and then another 12 on that. This is kind of the series I'm currently collecting, trying to get all the volumes before reading the entire thing. Big fan of the anime. Not too sure about their decision to make 2 movies to cover the rest of the content, but we'll kind of see how that turns out. Hopefully, at least in that sense, the animation will be top tier for the final matches and stuff. And then starting on the regular shelf, we've got one of my favourite and first completed series, Assassination Classroom volumes 1 to 21. I mean, if you haven't experienced Assassination Classroom in either the anime or manga format, what are you doing? It's got a box set, just get around to it. It's amazing. Then Hunter x Hunter, we've got volume 1 and then 32 to 36, which is all the post-anime content. There was just one fight, I don't want to spoil anything, but one fight which takes place in volume 34, which was the main reason that I decided to pick it up, but was pleasantly surprised by the Dark Continent journey kind of arc that started in volume 35-ish, and Kurapika steals the show. I'm not going to deny it. Absolutely carries it as a main character. Like, he makes you forget about Gon, that's for sure. Then next up we've got Jujutsu Kaisen volume 0 and then 1 to 16. I'm a couple of volumes away from being up to date, but I read the Shibuya arc and I was like, yep, I think Jujutsu Kaisen has peaked here. I don't think it's going to get any better, and not because I don't think Jujutsu Kaisen is a good series, but I rate the Shibuya arc as one of the best shonen arcs that I've read. It just, every single fight, every single moment, it just is amazing. So yeah, Shibuya arc, get on that. And also it's coming out in a few weeks time, the anime, and just running for 24 straight weeks, so we're going to see the Shibuya arc animated hopefully this year. So I'm looking forward to everyone hyping up the crazy fights that take place. Then we've got One Punch Man volumes 1 to 22. I was actually falling a little bit off the series around volume 8 and 9, and the Garo stuff definitely picked it back up, because I think Garo honestly carries One Punch Man at this point. As much as I like Saitama and the comedy aspect, Garo is just one of the coolest villains, and I'm so just surprised that he's come out of like a gag and satire manga. But yeah, Garo for the win, man. Then next up, another one of my favourite, probably in my top 3 manga, Komi Can't Communicate. I got volumes 1 to 17 and then 19 and 21. I have been slacking a bit on picking up the volumes for this, but I love the series nonetheless. Just is wholesome. It's probably the most wholesome manga I've read, and Komi is just an awesome character, and the supporting cast is really fun and really funny, and you can just pick up any random volume of this and read it again and just enjoy yourself and have a good time. I just think it does it better than any other series that I own or have read in that aspect. Going over to the next shelf, we've got my other sports series in Kuroko's Basketball volumes 1 to 30. That is the series complete. I've read the first 10 and absolutely loved it, and then just waited for myself to get everything as tempted as I was to just read when I had like up to volume 18 or 20. I just decided to hold out, and now I can read the series from beginning to end dope sports series. Obviously, it's a little bit one of those unrealistic series with superpowers, and not superpowers, but shots that are being made from places that aren't realistic and stuff like that. But it just does it well, and it balances it with some realism really nicely, and with some awesome hype characters as well. I'll say the Haikyuu overall objectively is the better series, but personally I'd say I prefer Kuroko's basketball. Then next up we've got a series which I have completely dropped off of as of recently, even though my channel was titled after one of the characters. We've got volume 1 to 16 of My Hero there, and then 17 to 31. I just don't know what's kind of happened to the hype of the series, but I've died off of it. I think that some of the decisions that Horikoshi is making just don't sit right with me personally, in terms of his characterization and his lack of wanting to axe characters off as well. I'm gonna go back to making the volume reviews for it and kind of give my opinion in more detail in that sense, but there's going to be a bit more negativity in relation to the series coming from me, that's for sure. Then we've got the spin-off, which just recently got an anime adaptation announcement, and that is Vigilantes 1 to 6. What's nice about it is that it feels fresh, and although it takes place in the same world, it just feels like something different for the My Hero brand, which was nice, but didn't really carry me past volume 6, to be honest. I'll probably get back into it and pick it up now that the anime has been announced, but yeah, that's basically me for My Hero for now. And then the final series at the front here is one of my favourite anime that I've watched, and in terms of, like I said, anime adaptations for this duo, my favourite by far. Objectively speaking, Death Note is probably better, but Bakuman's probably got my favourite consistent set of characters in any anime that I've watched, and I just had to pick up the box set when I saw it come back into stock. I know this is going to be a long ass read though, because they love putting dialogue in their series, and because this is mostly about making manga, there's definitely going to be a lot of dialogue in it, so as much as I'm looking forward to it, it's going to be a long read, that's for sure, especially in comparison to some other manga. But Bakuman, other than Mob Psycho, this is probably my second biggest recommendation of my collection. You guys have got to get on this if you haven't experienced it. Another criminally underrated series. Now, behind the first set of manga on the left hand shelf, we've got the first volume of Ultimo. Well, mostly what I put behind here was either completed series that I've read, or series that I'm not really tempted to pick up anytime soon, or ones that are just impossible to find, like some of the Ultimo volumes. As much as I liked and the idea of a Stanley manga, it's just too hard to pick up, and I wouldn't say that it was so good that it's worth paying ridiculous money for some of the volumes. Then D Grey Man I liked, but again, such a long running series, I don't really think it's worth it. Blue Exorcist, the same kind of vibe. I like the anime, but it's about 20 something volumes, and again, not in a rush to pick that up. Seraph of the End, again, the same case, it was fine. Food Wars is probably the exception to that rule, although the fan service was a bit off-putting all the time. I hear that it dies down a little bit, so I am willing to give the future of the series a chance. It's just, again, a few of the volumes, especially the early ones, are a little bit harder to pick up, so I'll see if I can just find them here and there, but not really willing to pay ridiculously over retail for them. Dragon Ball Super is just sitting behind it because I won't pick up another volume of this until I've obtained the box sets for Z and the original Dragon Ball, and then I'll try to get up to date with this and read it in one fell swoop. Promised Neverland, another one of those series I was doing volume reviews on, and then I just stopped reading it for a bit, waiting for it to finish, and then around volume 12 I continued on to the end. It definitely peaks at Goldie Pond, but at least it doesn't do what the anime does and completely fumble the series. It's got an ending which I would say was decent. Nothing criminal, but not the best either, kind of similar to Attack on Titan. But it definitely peaks around the Goldie Pond the stuff. Then we got the Yu-Gi-Oh! 3-in-1s, another one of those things where if I find the volumes I'll pick them up, but not really in any particular rush. And the very last set of manga that I have on this shelf, we start with the first 3 volumes of Nana, and this desperately needs a reprint because I absolutely love these first 3 volumes. but some of the prices for some of the volumes just aren't worth paying for a series that doesn't have a proper ending. But I'm desperate to read more of it. I actually ended up getting these at a charity shop for about 30p a volume, which was an amazing find. But if anyone's ever selling them a lot or something on eBay, then I might consider it, but I'm not paying some of the prices for the individual volumes, as good as I thought the series was. Then we've got Demon Slayer back here just because it's completed and I've read it. This is the entire run, volumes 1 to 23. It's good. It seems to be in this weird limbo where it goes from being super overhyped and then super overhated every time a season comes out. The latest season that just concluded, I thought, in my opinion, was the weakest arc of the manga, but it leads into what is probably the most hype and the best. So I'm looking forward to seeing that training arc going into the final arc, potentially in a few movies. I'm not entirely sure how they're going to do it, but Demon Slayer is a good series and I'd recommend it for shonen fans. Then a series which I've really slept on is Kaguya-sama. I got the first 8 volumes, but I haven't picked up a volume of this in ages, and that has led to some of the volumes being a bit more difficult to obtain on Amazon and stuff, which is a little bit annoying, but I'll definitely get back on it. So that's not back here for any sort of hate reason or anything like that. And it's the same with Magi. Magi is a series I absolutely love, but just not one of those things where I haven't picked up a volume of it in ages, so I just decided to put it back here. But Magi is an amazing adventure series and pretty unique, and these volumes just look amazing on the shelf as well. But yeah, that is kind of the state of my collection. I'll just go through some other stuff quickly and then that'll be the video. Despite this being a manga collection, I thought I would just quickly run through comics because it is another form of reading medium that I also like. So although I have way less comics, I thought I would just quickly run through them. So up here, I got these for my birthday, which was just a little while back. We've got Bendis' run on Miles Morales' Spider-Man. This is his entire run on the character post his original Ultimate Spider-Man stuff. The first volume has the pre-Secret War stuff, and then the second volume covers everything post that. The first volume is definitely the content that I personally am most excited for, just because I'm hoping going to be more refined, just Miles being Spider-Man stories rather than just big Marvel event stuff, which is more so what I was looking for from these. So I'll probably make a video just talking about my opinion and stuff on them anyway, but they look really nice, and I got an alternate cover for the second volume from Forbidden Planet online, so I just thought I'd show that off as well. Really nice. Then go into my first shelf here. We've got the first 2 Walking Dead omnibuses. I had the first 10 trades, but I wanted to get rid of them and replace them with the 8 editions of these, so I need to pick up the rest. But really nice, although a bit pricey. That's one thing when going over to buy comics from manga, it's just the price difference is kind of ridiculous. Then we got Deadly Class volumes 1 and 2. That's half of that series, and then another half of the series here we got Invincible. Picked this up after watching the show and super hyped to read it. Also excited for season 2 of the show. Then going down here, we've got the first volume of Kirkman's Firepower. Then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles IDW Collections Volume 1 and 2 and 6. I'm a sucker for anything TMNT, so need to pick up more of these. I love anything about the Turtles, games, comics, shows, whatever. Even those rubbish live action movies. Then next up we got Paper Girls. I just love the additions and the spines and stuff on these. Read the first one, really good. Not my favourite work by Brian K. Vaughan, but amazing nonetheless. Gideon Falls volumes 1 and 2. This is complete. Haven't read it yet. Then we've got some omnibuses here. We've got the Star Wars Darth Vader omnibus by Kieran Gillen, and the Gotham Central omnibus by Ed Brubaker, with art by, I believe, Greg Rucka. Yeah. And the Gotham Central omnibus I have started. Amazing. Just filled with a bunch of awesome kind of police and Gotham related stories without Batman in them so much. Then on the second last shelf, we've got Once and Future and Something is Killing the Children, Boom Studios kind of deluxe volumes. I didn't get the slipcover on either of these just because I didn't really see the need. Something is Killing the Children, amazing series, probably my second or third favourite comic. Once and Future, yet to read. Then next up we have my favourite comic, and that is Saga, volumes 1 to 9. Really need to pick up the hardcovers for it, because just having the paperbacks is not doing the series justice. It is my favourite comic, and I need more better editions of it than just the trades. Yet to read volume 10, I do have it, but yet to read it. Then we've got some other Image stuff here, some DC stuff over there, and then going into the bottom shelf, I'll just give you a quick scan. I believe in the corner somewhere there I've got the Last of Us comic, which I'm excited to read. Picked it up after watching the amazing adaptation of the show. So yeah, that's it for my comics. I'll run you through my posters and figures now. I've lined up all the figures here on the shelf, but just quickly before that, I just thought I'd show off the stuff I have on the shelf. This is just the box set extras from Naruto box set 2 and 3. This came with the Bakuman box set, Bleach box set 1, the 3 One Piece box sets here, Romance Dawn, Strong World, and I believe this is a Toriko crossover there, and then Bleach box set 3, I think, or maybe this is the one that came in box set 1. And then I also am weird, so I keep all of the extras that come with all the deluxes and box sets and stuff, like the Hellsing ones and the Berserk ones. Not really relevant, but I just thought I'd tell you. And in terms of the figures, a lot of these I get as gifts and stuff, so I'm not entirely sure of the lines and the people that make them. This is a Naruto one, pretty cool, although that will not stay in his hand, which is really annoying. Then I know that these three are part of the Amazing Heroes My Hero line. I also have the All Might, but his hands come off, so he needs some super glue. Then another awesome figure is this Gogeta, but another annoyance is that this halo will not stay on his head. Moving across, we got UI Goku, and then my 2 pop-up parade figures. We've got Maki from JJK, and always forget her name, but the main character from Kill la Kill. And I also got this Goddess Story card, which I just display next to the figure because it looks cool. And then my most recent pickup is Noboru or Nobura from JJK. Found this at a neat little place called Animetal in central London, so I definitely recommend going there. They got a lot of Japanese import figures and whatnot. And then down here we've got Saitama who's falling over, and a Koru Sensei, which I got for Christmas, which is awesome. I just put that next to my Assassination Classroom, and it just looks awesome. One of my favourite figures for sure. And last but not least in this long ass video, I'll just go through the posters I got dotted around my room. So starting next to the comic shelf here, we've got the My Hero frame poster there, and then a bunch that I picked up at Comic Con: Komi, Mob, Your Name, and Jojo. Moving over to the side of the shelf, we've got again some from Comic Con. I'll see if I can get that in there so you can follow the creator on socials. A bunch of awesome ones. I got Makima, Lucy, and then this May from Guilty Gear, which I don't know where to put now because it was originally a bit further down on the shelf, but I've recently moved them. Then this framed Wonder Egg poster here, awesome. I'm currently watching Good Girls on Netflix. Bakuman poster, box set poster, and Bleach box set poster, and then the 2 One Piece box set posters from box sets 2 and 3. I believe the Strong World one is tied into a movie. Then Weather and Review, this came with the deluxe edition of the movie. Sailor Moon one here, and then One Piece box set 1 poster, yeah. Then going across here, we've got the Quintessential Quintuplets, one of the posters that came in the box set. They are double-sided, so you can kind of choose which character you want. I just chose this, I haven't read it yet, so I'm not really familiar with any characters. Then going across here, we've got the rest of the stuff that came in the Weathering deluxe edition. One of them has like the number on the back for what what edition is. I think it's 100 and something out of 1,000, which is cool. Then on the other side of my door is something my sister made for me. I'll get it through for you now, sorry about that. This is from Bob's Burgers, a nice quote from the series. My sister knitted this for me, it's pretty dope, so I just hang it on my door. Then I got these posters, I just found these at Comic-Con, they just gave them with purchases. Vigilantes one, Hero one, and then these are more box set posters, Naruto, Tokyo Ghoul, Naruto again, and then this again was just a poster that came from Comic-Con. And then down here we've got two more of the ones by the same creator as the ones on the side of my shelf. We've got character from Guilty Gear and Jill from Resi, probably my favourite game series. And then going up here, we've got Bleach box set 3 posters. This is where I keep all my boxes in this corner of my room. And then a bunch of Spider-Man ones. And then final wall of posters, we got big Forbidden Planet posters which have nothing to do with anime, Venom, Harlequin, Elden Ring, great game. Still not my game of the year though, God of War Ragnarok Supremacy. Stranger Things Season 3, Vader, and then finally the other poster from Quintuplets. And thank you for staying tuned for such a long video. Sorry for the cuts and stuff, just had to get around and show everything. Hope you really enjoyed the video. That is kind of the collection and room tour pretty much. Hopefully you guys have a great day. So happy to be back on YouTube. Any recs you got for videos and stuff, let me know anything you want to see. So yeah, I'm back. Hopefully you guys have a great day. Peace.